Welcome to Strange History, where we talk about the weird, the wonderful, and sometimes mundane history of the world. Today, we're going to add a little color to the podcast and talk about the color red. Colors have different meanings, and red is no exception. Did you know that red is the first color that humans perceive after black and white? It's the color that babies see first before any other, and the first that those suffering from temporary color blindness after a brain injury can start to see again. Red's dominance is even reflected in how colors are defined. Although different societies developed their names for colors at different times and in different ways, almost all of them named them in the same order. Red is the color of our blood and our hearts, and has symbolized love and fidelity in cultures across the world for centuries. Some even consider wearing red jewelry and accessories as one way to get ahead in the romance game. Red is also a prominent color found at weddings, from Roman times when brides wore red shawls to warrant love and fidelity, to China today, where red still brings good luck at weddings. Chinese brides wear red wedding dresses, are carried to their weddings on red litters, walk on a red carpet down the aisle, and are kissed under a red veil. The couple also receives red eggs as gifts upon the birth of their first child. Red is symbolic of the blood of Christ and has played an important role in Christianity and Christian iconography. Cardinals wear red robes, and the color is predominant in public worship garments and textiles. Adopting the color was also a way for kings in the Middle Ages to show their God-given right to rule. Red became the color of regal majesty and power. Charlemagne wore red shoes at his coronation as a visible symbol of his authority, as did Louis XIV in his official portraits. In Chinese philosophy, red is one of the colors associated with the 5 elements of the world: red for fire, yellow for earth, white for metal, black for water, and green for wood. The fire element, which is red, is linked to dynamism, leadership, confidence, aggression, and hypersensitivity. When Chinese emperors asked their personal fortune tellers to choose a color that would bring the most prosperity and good fortune to their reign, red was the answer. In the Zhou, Han, Xing, Song, and Ming dynasties, it was the royal color par excellence and was featured heavily in royal ceremonies. When the Spaniards landed in Mexico in the 1500s, they discovered textiles dyed vivid red. In Europe, the substance used to make red dye produced a weaker, browner hue. The Aztec secret was cochineal, a small bug that was scraped off cactuses, dried, and then crushed. The Spaniards soon set up an extensive trading system to export cochineal to Europe, where it became a red-hot commodity. The Romans liked to decorate the walls of their villas in brightly colored frescoes. However, having the latest look in interior decor came at a price, as the pigment they used for the bright red was vermilion and was derived from the mineral cinnabar, a common ore of highly toxic mercury. The miners, who were usually slaves or prisoners, who extracted cinnabar from the southern Spanish mines for Roman consumption, were essentially given death sentences for their work. Scientists have found evidence that over 40,000 years ago, Stone Age hunters and gatherers ground up red clay to make body paint. Another use was for protection in the afterlife. In the Paleolithic period, people buried their dead with red powder in order to ward off evil spirits. One of the oldest forms of red comes from clay, given the red hue by the mineral hematite. In fact, evidence has been found that people in the late Stone Age were grinding red ochre to paint their bodies. Red, along with white and black, was one of the only colors used by artists in the Paleolithic Age because it was easily obtained by nature. The prehistoric cave paintings in Altamira, Spain, which date between 15,000 and 16,500 BC, wow, that's a long time ago, are early examples of paintings with red ochre. Ochre. Red was also prominent in ancient China, with early examples of black and red pottery dating between 5,000 and 3,000 BC. Traces of red ochre were even found on a painter's palette inside the tomb of King Tut in Egypt. Let's talk a little bit about cinnabar. This red ranges in hues from brilliant scarlet to a deep black and is named after the mineral from which it's made. This mercuric sulfide is highly toxic, but has been used since the time of the Egyptians. The brilliant color was favored by ancient Romans who used it extensively in decoration. Examples can be seen in the wall art of Pompeii. In fact, cinnabar was so prized in Roman times that it cost more than Egyptian blue and red ochre from Africa. From the 12th century, cinnabar was also used extensively in carved Chinese lacquerware. In ancient times, vermilion pigments were made from cinnabar. This shouldn't be confused with the later paints, which are also called vermilion. There are at least 23 shades of red crayons, and there are approximately 40 different shades of the color red. The color red is considered to be the rarest hair color, with only 1 to 2% of the whole world's population having a special gene that causes it. The color red occurs in the rarest in terms of natural hair. Thanks to the genetic mutation referred to as MC1R, this recessive gene can only be attained through genetics. However, due to this genetic mutation, those with naturally red hair are more prone to attaining sunburns, skin cancer, and other things because their bodies do not naturally develop vitamin D. Redheads are also considered to be more prone to pain and may need more anesthesia compared to other people with darker or blonde hair. The red fox is considered to be the largest among the family of true foxes. Red wine is considered to be the most popular variant of wine in the world. Among the variants of red wine, Cabernet Sauvignon is considered to be the most popular type in the world. Cabernet is made with full-bodied red grapes that are heavily planted in the Bordeaux region of the country of France and are best known for its full, rich flavors that include a hint of woodsy and herbal flavors. The last fact about the color red is Little Red Riding Hood is one of the most popular children's tales in European countries. The tale of Little Red Riding Hood follows a young girl who is pursued by a wolf on a way to visit her grandmother. Originating from the early 10th century, this classic story has been made into various versions in many different countries over time. The most well-known version of this children's tale was written by Charles Perrault, which teaches children that they should not speak with strangers and avoid trouble and danger. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you get your podcasts. This podcast was produced by Dead to Me Productions and the brainchild of Amy Domestico. Thank you, Spreaker, for being such a great podcasting platform.